Let's move back to that big domestic story that isn't going to go away, and rightly so. Farmers warning of escalating protests unless the Chancellor meets them to discuss the inheritance tax problem. Over 13,000 farmers protested yesterday in Westminster, but the government says 73% of farms would be unaffected. We'll speak to Charles in a second, who is a farmer. And this is William Taylor from Farmers for Action. William, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Nice to have you with us. Well, there is the line. The government saying 73% of farms would be unaffected, which doesn't really answer the question, but is that stat true?
Well, there's an ongoing dispute between the government itself and DEFRA, even on those stats. So, I mean, they've obviously got it wrong. And plus the fact Jeremy Clarkson turned around to the crowd yesterday and asked them, he says, in front of a BBC interview, he says, and they were put in the same case as the government. He says, anyone here, that's not going to be affected with this, put your hand up. Nobody put their hand up.
Yeah.
So, it's wrong. It's not true. And tax is very complicated, as you know. But, I mean, the bottom line is, look, there's far too many genuine hard-working farmers going to be affected by this.
Well, I was going to say, based on those figures, even if they were true, William, that still suggests that over a quarter of farms will be affected. It's likely to be much more than that, but, I mean, that is still a significant number of people. That's still a battle that needs to be had, right?
Well, of course it is. But, look, this tax issue is the straw that has broke the camel's back. This has been... farming has been under far too much pressure for far too long. Poor farm gate prices, the world and its dog know that has been going on for decades, and it's now become unsustainable on farm. And I mean, this is coming out in all the interviews and TV programmes that we see, how little cash farmers have. They cannot afford to pay this tax. So farm gate prices need fixed. We have the climate change issue. We have disease issues with bovine TB. We have the threat now coming from warmer climes, the blue tongue, which is a serious issue. And quite frankly, everything heaped on top of each other, an increasing bureaucracy, which we were promised would disappear after Brexit.
Sure.
And I joke that was to the point where farmers are at breaking point. That's really what this is all about. This is the last straw that has broke the camel's back, and things in agriculture have to change going forward. Yeah.
I was about to say, it didn't take much. It's like a game of, I can't remember the name of the Jenga, where you pull out the last brick, and everything comes tumbling down. Right. This is already a vulnerable industry, right? And has been for a few years now.
Yes, well summed up.
Do you sense there is, when we hear about farmers talking about escalating this protest, can you imagine what form that might take, William, and what realistically, no matter how right most people seem to think farmers are, when the Treasury dig their heels in, they tend to be immovable?
Well, they're going to have to justify that to their rural MPs who got elected in safe Tory seats. So those Labour MPs will be wanting to try and get elected again. And, this is their chance to shout loud now, which I think they will do automatically.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they've got the backing now from the farmers. They've got the backing even from the Tory party, from Nigel Farage, from others across the board, that, this is wrong, and it has to be re-looked at.
Yeah.
And, I mean, our own group, Farmers for Action, and all the other groups involved yesterday, we would like to have the sit-down meeting with Rachel Reeves, talk about it and discuss it. Now, if that meeting comes, well and good, that's a good place to start from where we're at just currently. But if it doesn't, then, of course, we'll have to consider further action.
Indeed. Well, we'll watch with interest. Listen, just to tell you, William, there's an awful lot of support for what you guys are doing. William Taylor is from Farmers for Action.